So in the next 5 or 8 minutes, I'm going to break down motivation in a way that you've never heard before, okay? Because you probably are a person who's relying too much on the feeling of motivation or not enough, okay? Or you're somewhere in the middle. So look, motivation, what it actually is obviously just, a feeling of wanting to move towards something, right? It's a motive for certain action, okay? And some people say, oh, you shouldn't rely on your feelings at all. And some people say you should rely on it too much. However, what I think you should do is really use it in a way where it's productive for yourself. So yeah, you want to find out your motive for action. You want to have motivation generally to your goals, but on a day-to-day basis, you don't want to tune into your feelings too much, right? Because they do swing. But that's more moods as opposed to motivation. So look, motivation, what it is very simple. It is your values plus the certainty that you have of being able to achieve those values, okay? So simply said, let's say that you're trying to start a business or something, right? And you're having to do all this action, right? So you have to go and travel down this road of starting a business and doing all that type of stuff. Now, let's say that at the end of that road, you feel like, okay, I'm gonna be getting a lot of my values, right? So values could be like freedom, right? Or, more love because I'm able to give back to people, stuff like that. Or, money leads to freedom, status, those types of things, right? You feel that you're going to be achieving all of those values at the end of the road. That's going to mean that you're going to have motivation, right? Simply because your brain feels that it's going to get your highest values at the end of the road, okay? But let's say that you do believe that, you're going to get these values, right? So it's the correct values here. But let's say that your certainty is not that high, right? So if your certainty is not that high, let's say that you're not that certain that you are really going to get those values, then you're got a problem, right? So the problem can be in two things, and two things only. It's either the certainty that you have about the outcome, right? How certain are you that you're going to get those values fulfilled through what you're trying to do? So, that certainty could be like, I don't think that I can pull this off. Or I don't think that if I get that money that I'm really going to be free because I have all this tax and shit like that. Or that certainty could be, I don't think that the business that I'm doing can actually really make me, help me make this happen. That I can actually make it happen with this business or whatever, or the product that I'm selling, any of those things. So it's either the certainty in yourself, in the product, in the business, whatever it may be, or it's the values, right? So if it's the values, it's like, okay, at the end of the road, I do believe that I can make this happen. I do believe that I can make this money. However, I don't believe that I'm going to get more freedom because I'm going to have to work more. I don't believe that I'm going to get more love, or I don't believe that I'm going to get more status. I'm just believing that my values are not going to be met at the end of the day. Okay, so how do you figure your motivation recipe out for yourself? Ask yourself this question. What is most important to me in life? Okay? And if you ask yourself that, then you're going to get your values, right? So what you want to do is you want to get your recipe for your values, and then you want to get them like number 1, number 2, number 3, right? So you might have like freedom, something like that. And then what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, with the thing that I'm currently trying to do, right? What I have to do or who I have to be or what I will create at the end of this road, will it meet the values that I actually have in my mind, right? And if you answer yes to that question, then this thing is a green check mark, right? So then you've done that side of the formula, right? It needs to align with your values, okay? And if one of them is not there, then you ask yourself, why do I think that, okay? What about doing this? What do I have to do or who do I have to be or what has to happen that is going to decrease the value that I actually want to increase? Okay, because that's going to pull back your motivation because you're fighting a different part of yourself, and that creates self-sabotage, right? So if you think about that, let's say that it's like freedom, right? You subconsciously believe, but then we're bringing it into your awareness that, if you get here, that you're going to have less freedom, okay? And the reason you believe that is because, let's say that you're a coach and you do one-on-one coaching and, or some type of service, and then you're going to get here, but you believe that you're going to be working much more. Well, in that case, freedom is obviously going to go down, right? Or let's use a different example. Maybe it's like status. So, I had someone, who was like, doing social media stuff, and she was actually doing like 40 grand a month already, and she wanted to go to like, 7 figures, but she didn't because she believed that her status and her love would really go down if she got exposed on social media. And the reason because that is like a year ago, she had a boyfriend who got really exposed on social media, but he got really hated on, okay? And so that built the subconscious belief system of her that if she goes to her point B from point A, right? If she goes to her goal, then her values of love and status and stuff are gonna go down, okay? It's that damn simple. The things that are most important to you in life, your values, need to be increased and more pleasurable at your goal. If you subconsciously or consciously think that they will not be met by you going to that goal, then you're gonna have resistance. That's what it really is about. That's what resistance is about, okay? So you wanna figure this out, and then you wanna shift those belief systems, right? So how you do that, it's the most simple way to do that is by finding opposite examples, right? So find examples of people who have gone to B and have gotten more love, status, freedom, etc. Okay? So simply said, figure out what are your top values, like 1, 2, 3. That's usually enough ammunition to really work with, like your top 3 values. And do you think that that's gonna lead into your goal if you go to your goal? And then if it doesn't, then shift and reframe those beliefs, find examples of where it is true, and make the mindset workable for you. Okay, so that's number 1. And then number 2 is the certainty part, okay? So let's say that you are aligned. There's no limiting beliefs here of like, I'm gonna go down in this and this. However, I'm just not as certain that I can do this or that this will work for me, etc. Okay, and to really explain this, I can just give you an example. Let's say that I had a lottery ticket, okay? And I was gonna ask you 10 grand for it, but I guaranteed that you were gonna win $1 million with it. And I told you, fly out to me right now and buy it off me for 10 grand, but I guarantee that. And let's say that you believe that 100%, with 100% certainty, you believe that. Now, are you at that point gonna fly out to me and actually give me the 10 grand and go cash it in back home? You probably are, because you believe it 100%. So you're gonna take those actions, and it's not gonna require any willpower. It's not gonna require any discipline because you are certain of the outcome, okay? I'll give an example. Years ago, different example, I was like, trying to work, but I was like not motivated to work and stuff like that. And then I had this investment opportunity, where I was pretty much a guaranteed, 2x, 3x on a big amount of money that I could do. This is like a couple years ago. And all of a sudden I spent because I had to do a lot of stuff, but I had to do it quick, I had to act quick. And I spent like 5-6 hours doing some shit that I would regularly really not like. And I flew through that shit because I really was certain about the outcome and it was aligned with my values. So, I just did it, and it didn't cost me a lot of willpower because my pleasurable associations were really, really high, okay? Your brain always moves towards pleasure and away from pain. And pleasure, what that means to you is dependent upon the values that you hold in your conscious and subconscious mind. So we got to get those values up, make sure they're aligned with our goals, okay? And then increase the certainty that we're gonna get there, and then you have motivation, okay? It's that damn simple. Now, there's one small caveat, which is just your brain naturally does have an inclination to stay the same, okay? But this work can really, rise above that natural inclination of your brain wanting to conserve energy, conserve time, and stay the same. And by the way, your brain wants that because it comes from a primal objective, a primal imperative where your brain wants to just survive and stay the same and stay comfortable. Okay, so naturally your brain has a tendency to do that, but if you use this, it's gonna be much more easy to overcome that and just move towards your goals with 10% resistance as opposed to 90% resistance, okay? Because it should just actually feel quite easy and quite flowing, moving towards your point B, moving towards success, okay? So implement this today. Ask yourself these questions, subscribe, leave a comment, and like, and I will see you in the next one.